Okay, everybody. Wow.
Wow.
It's going to be the utmost, in the most gentle way, powerful stuff today. And you'll know what I mean as soon as you hear my guest speak her angelic voice.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Ma.
Yeah. So, welcome to Powerful Stuff. We have my soul sister, Sarah DeWarren.
Also known as Brittany.
Also known as Brittany, her alter ego, which we'll get into in a little bit. But Sarah and I have a very unique and special relationship, which is that we both have the same ex-boyfriend who actually cheated on us both. Pew, pew, pew. And we're going to get into the whole story, but I think that the theme of this powerful stuff is really us getting to share how we've been friends since like 2015.
We've had a really good run, and I feel like our friendship keeps getting stronger.
It really does keep getting stronger. And I feel like, yeah, how cool that we both took something that was so painful for both of us in our own relationship with he who will not be named. And it's brought us full circle. I mean, we'll get into all of it, but we've done a marathon together. We've traveled the world together, doing our own self-organized music tour. We're releasing a song together this week called Alchemy, which is literally alchemizing pain into
It is.
something gold. And Sarah herself, like I've gotten to see her whole music career flourish and grow from our so far sounds days to now being a full-time musician, traveling the world, singing at festivals, DJing up a storm.
Oh, I mean, it all started with our European tour and our So Far Sounds shows in Kongsvinger.
Kongsvinger is in Norway, in case you guys were wondering.
Oh, yeah. I got the country wrong. I said Sweden.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah.
One of the Nordics.
One of the Nordics.
But yes. And we saw we didn't see the Northern Lights, but we saw the Midnight Sun in Norway as well.
We did.
In the Lofoten Islands.
We've been on so many adventures together. We've seen so many parts of the world. We've explored our internal worlds as well as our external worlds together.
And that's a beautiful thing too, now that I'm living in LA, which is another full circle thing of like we were living in England together, which we'll get into the whole timeline because I know you guys are at the edge of your seat. And now that I'm living in LA, it's like you came to visit me and brought me my first animal spirit deck as a thank you for hosting. And then you've started coming back and forming relationships with producers and building a music career out here too. And now are about to make the big move yourself.
I know, it's crazy. I mean, from the outside, it might look like I'm following you here. And maybe that is what's happening.
I don't hate it.
I wasn't ready to tell you yet, but I think a massive part of me coming to LA is the fact that you're here. And it was the reason I came in the first place. And I didn't know anyone in the music industry. I just knew you. And I felt very drawn to this place for not just for career reasons, but also because you spoke so highly of LA and, you know, you've done so much self-growth here. And I think the people in LA are very introspective, and everyone has a great attitude toward improving themselves. And when I first came here, I was really thrown into that through you because of your amazing community, and I'm so grateful for that.
Aww.
And I really feel like a huge part of my growth journey has been a reflection of our friendship and how our friendship started from, as you said, like quite a painful place. I mean, a very painful place.
Like so painful.
Like so painful. Like literally, it took me probably 10 years to heal from the trauma.
Right. And both of us have written so many songs about our relationship with that guy. It's crazy.
So
and
many.
the heartache from it.
So many.
And we know each other's songs about it now.
Oh my God. I know your whole catalog.
I know yours. And the beautiful thing too is, and we'll get to all of it, but is that Sarah and I literally performed our song that we wrote together at my wedding with my husband. And I'm like, what a cool full circle moment. And I always joke, but not really, because I'm serious, that like we were each other's blueprint of what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yeah.
And a healthy long distance relationship.
And a healthy friendship as well. So one of the main things, one of the main traumas I have from that romantic relationship I had at school was what it did to my friendships, because it got in between a lot of my female friendships. And I had to relearn how to trust my female friends again.
Yeah.
And that was really difficult. And it's something I still struggle with a little bit, but I think I've come a long way with it. But I actually think the deeper trauma for me from that relationship was what it did to my female friendships and how it made me see women as competition,
Right.
as opposed to sisters.
Yes.
Because of all the dynamics. Just for a little background, there was this ex-boyfriend who we have been referring to would be involved with other girls in my school, and there was a lot of sneaking around and me not really knowing who he was involved with. Sometimes they were my friends, sometimes
They were at a boarding school in England.
it was a boarding school, so you couldn't escape from what was going on. It was very like insular. Yeah, and so it just really tore apart my friendships, and
Lots
obviously
of distrust.
a lot of distrust. Yeah, and so I just became very like self-sufficient and a lone wolf
Yeah. And
until I met you.
oh my gosh, what? This is really just a podcast professing our love for each other. Honestly, before we get into our 3 breaths and before we forget you guys, I will say that like our friendship is so close that at some points people thought we were dating.
They did.
Yeah.
People are like, you're either sisters, you're friends, or you're dating.
Yeah,
We're not
because
sure.
we'd post all these photos like laughing together, like walking, holding hands through the streets of Athens and Greece.
like
and,
leaning over your guitar together.
yeah,
singing a love song.
singing a love song. And people are like, are they dating? And we're like, that would be the biggest plot twist. Like he cheated on us and then we got together.
Oh, wait, and then the Valentine's Day picture.
And then we do have a Valentine's Day photo where we're jumping out of the water in Barbados, back to back, holding each other's back of each other's hands, and our toes are touching in such a way that it looks like a heart.
I mean, I don't know if you can even imagine it. In my brain, it doesn't make sense. But if you see the picture,
Yeah, I might have to link to the photo in the show notes.
Yeah, it's like right here.
Yeah, I know. But it's a powerful photo. Okay, with that being said, guys, this is going to be a journey in healing our sisterhood wounds and also in reminding us that sometimes the things that cause us the biggest pain can actually be the biggest catalyst for growth. And I always say that I'm so grateful. Like dating him was one of the best things that ever happened to me in terms of the women it brought into my life. You being one of my best friends. Actually, some of the other women I met through him have gone through my coaching program and are also good friends of mine. And so it's like, and the heartbreak songs that both of us wrote from those were our initial songs that we started touring with.
Mm-hmm. And then the resilience songs about coming through the heartbreak and healing again and learning to love again.
And learning to love.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, everyone, we'll do our 3 breaths. And Sarah, if you want to take the middle breath, we'll ping pong it. So everyone just taking a moment to breathing in whatever old wounds that you want to call forth to look at with a new healing, a new light, and exhaling them out, preparing your ears for the wisdom, the medicine, the new downloads that might come from today.
And now we'll take an inhale together and just fully accepting, receiving love and generosity from the universe and the women around us. And then breathing out any anxiety around that.
And then 3rd breath in, breathing in the love, the coming together, the trust that everything has happened and is happening perfectly, even if you can't see it in this moment. Exhaling that out. Okay, guys. So as we kind of gave a little backstory, a little teaser, do you want to kind of share the high level? I know you kind of shared that you and he were in boarding school. My mom would correct me on that. We're in boarding school. You got together, just kind of the high level of what your relationship was like, and then breaking up and seeing about, when you first started seeing him posting photos of me on Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just a quick little overview for the listeners and where you were mentally at that time, and then I'll jump in to what the relationship was to me and how we crossed paths.
Okay, so picture like a quaint British boarding school with lots of privileged kids. And then
like totally healed though. Lots of privileged little brats. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know you guys already hate him. I joined a year late and I was vegan. So everyone was like, this is
Who's this
quite
girl?
a long time ago. So people didn't really know what vegan was. I was just like the odd kid out, had a crush on this guy who was like a really good guitar player. He was dating like an older girl. Eventually they broke up and me and him got together. And then we had like this 4-year on and off relationship where like we'd be super happy and in love. And there were a lot of beautiful moments. We both played music. We like were very passionate about the same types of music. We both loved running. We like we were both weirdos. Like we had a lot of fun together. But then he had like a lot of trauma that was unhealed. And that manifested as him being unfaithful. And it was just a really toxic time for me, and it was really hard for me to get through school. But I turned to music and I became a really good songwriter in that time because I had nothing else to like pour my heart into at the time. So that was what I lent on, and I'm so grateful that I was relying on that as my outlet because I just spent so many hours writing songs, and I just wouldn't have done that if I didn't have such a painful
Experience
experience
with him.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after school, he goes to
Berklee College of Music in Boston, where I'm at Harvard, and I was a cougar, I will admit. He was a few years younger than me. But yeah, in my perspective, I'm like, who is this? And it was right like the month Tinder came out. So I was like,
wow,
who is this tall guy holding a guitar from England? It was like,
it's always the guitar.
it's always a guitar.
What
and
do
it's
girls
like,
love about guitars?
I think also being in, now that I've lived in England, it's like, British guys are amazing, but it's not like the novelty of like.
They're not that amazing, trust me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. In college, be like, wow, he has a British accent.
So exotic. People are like, oh my God, your accent is exotic. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Like, it's really not.
No.
Oh my God, it's so not. And, but anyway, so we ended up dating, and we, ended up traveling to Mozambique together, to Morocco together, to Amsterdam. We ended up living together when he was still at Berklee and I had my super senior year at Harvard. We got an apartment together on Newbury Street. And, I felt like I was in love with him, but I also like had these deep feelings of like, I know I deserve to be treated better. And I felt like I was actually giving him power that he didn't even know he had, because he would sometimes go out some nights and be like, oh, I don't want you to come out with me and my friends. Or he'd be like, oh, I'm staying at so-and-so's house tonight. But then he wouldn't answer. And I would see like messages pop up from this girl from Berklee. And he'd be like, oh, she just needs me to come help move something. And also I do remember. So, yeah. And so,
red flags.
Yeah, red
we
flags.
Would call them.
And as we would call them red flags, but at the time, my self-worth was like, oh, it like wanted to believe him because it was too painful to break up with him, or like, that subconscious fear of like, oh, he's like this tall, hot British guitar player. Like, what if I can't find better? But it's like versus like the self-worth of like, how does Meredith deserve to be treated? And like, fuck him if he's going to treat me this way. But yeah, so after about a year together in that January, I was graduating from Harvard. He still had time at Berklee, and he's like, I'm still young. Like, I need to go see other people. Like, you should go off and do your own thing. And I think because of him, I applied to Oxford for my master's in a way because I was like, well, I want to have my own British experience. Like,
You should like rewrite that British experience.
I need to rewrite this British experience. So in a way, I'm grateful again because that as well, in addition to the songs that I had started writing, like my biggest song that the listeners might know, no, I'm joking, is Maybe I Won't Come Home Tonight. And that was a song I wrote about, it was like I had a feeling that our relationship was coming to an end 2 months before we broke up. And it was raining in Boston. I was on the Charles River, and I was like, would he even care if I came home tonight? Like, should I let myself
like
go?
A movie scene.
I know, it was so dramatic. I was like, should I let myself go, or should it was like, maybe I won't come home tonight. Maybe I'll slip away. Maybe my shadow needs a light. Maybe I thought you'd stay. And so I'm grateful for applying to Oxford and that song really, like, I recorded it when I moved to LA for a few months before I moved to England. And it was this song that I would submit that I got to play it on like London Live TV. And it became kind of like my first like song that I really like put forth as Meredith Baker. So grateful for the heartache cracking me
Your
open.
debut single.
It was my debut single, after which, Reggae My Blues, my evergreen,
Classic.
some of the old classics.
Really showing your versatility as well.
Yeah,
Like an emotional ballad and then like a reggae bop.
Yeah, I know. And so in the reggae one was like more so me like being like, I need a happy song. Like I'm
It's
ready
like
to
a Taylor Swift Shake It Off.
Yeah, shake it off. Exactly. Well said. And so that whole thing was going on. The whole year of England was like a year of healing from him, started dating other people, like had my own empowered experience in England. And then I met a few of his friends in England that I had known through him, this girl, Lucy. And
But we were not doing names.
oh yeah, well, I mean, she was just a friend who introduced us. So yeah,
She's an innocent bystander.
She's an innocent bystander. We're not doing any names of ex-boyfriends. We agreed before the show.
but we'll throw our friends under the bus.
Yeah. Well, Lucy, I was going to give her accolades.
Okay.
Yeah, for introducing because she brought us
together.
together. Exactly. So, and I did the Iceland Marathon with Lucy, and she hosted me the night I did the London Marathon. So I have nothing but good things to say about Lucy, another grateful person that we're introduced to. But yeah, anyway, so it had been a year. I had done Oxford, and I had gotten to know Lucy through it's like the don't think of an elephant. through said person.
Yeah.
And she was like, I know this might be a little strange, but I think you should meet Sarah De Warren because she's his other ex. You both are vegans, brunette songwriters. And I had runners, and I had seen photos of Sarah.
And I'd seen photos of you.
Yeah.
And I'd heard all about you from everyone.
Yeah.
I was about to say his name again. He who shall not be named, new girlfriend. I was like, she's like the upgrade of me. This doesn't feel good. She's like the better, more beautiful, more successful, more outgoing. I didn't know anything about you, but this is what we do in our head, right?
Right.
I was like, she's just like the 2.0 of who I am. And although I was like, I don't care, I'm doing my own thing, I'm living my separate life now. There's always that like the new girlfriend thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are almost taught to be like the girls.
Competitive.
Yeah, we compare each other.
Yeah.
And then
versus
the
like,
guys
what is
cut
the
all the
guy
slack.
doing wrong?
They get cut all the slack.
Yeah.
Why is it about the girls? And I actually really hate this in movies and stuff when like it's the two women fighting and I'm like, you do realize that
The guy's being the dick.
neither of you have done anything wrong. He's the problem.
Retweet. He's like, I'm the problem. It's me.
Yes.
But he doesn't say that. He's like, you guys compete, duel it out.
Exactly.
But it is funny too, because I had seen photos of would like have the
Oh my God.
said guy would have this weird thing of like bringing up like other girls that he found attractive or ex-girlfriends. I don't know, maybe in a way to like make me jealous
Red flag.
or make me feel
Number 7,020.
yeah, make me feel insecure, whatever. And he would show me like, oh, this is Sarah, like my ex. And I would be like, oh, like imagine if you come home and your boyfriend is like watching a YouTube video of his ex-girlfriend. It doesn't make you feel good.
No.
And so I just had these funny feelings. And I remember one night, 4 months into dating, he used to always say goodnight to me. And he's like, oh, I'm going to a Bryanston dinner tonight. And I was like, oh, and it made me feel a little uneasy because I was like, what if he sees his ex there? Or like, I don't know if she's going there. And I was in Nashville at the time and he was in England and it was 4 months into being official. And he didn't text me goodnight that night. And I just had this weird
You just knew.
feeling. I just knew. And then, but I tried to like assume the best, like how was last night. And then a few months later, like we were both working on our computers and he went to the bathroom and like he was on Facebook and a message popped up from you or something. Like, I don't know. It was just like in the scroll of messages. And I was like, I wasn't like trying to snoop around, but I just like noticed it.
But also when you have that gut feeling, I think
it's usually right.
And also if it's there and you investigate, I actually don't think that's a bad thing, because if you're reassured that nothing's going on, then fine.
Yeah.
Done. But if you find something,
yeah,
then it's like my intuition was right.
Yeah, and it said something about like getting a room or like, and I was just like, but then I didn't want like, yeah. I was like paralyzed and I almost didn't want to ask. Like the fear was so strong that my worst fear was true, that I like never brought it up. And then when the night you and I met, and I love that you did this. Do you want to share?
I don't know where this came from, because I was not good at hard conversations at the time.
But we had a night with Lucy. We were going out to dinner.
We had a really good girls'
night. We were
night.
vibing.
Yeah, and we were in the taxi. We were in the back of a taxi, and we were having a heart-to-heart. And I said, I just need to tell you, there was this one night where I knew you guys were together, and I saw him, and something happened, and I like felt awful about it, but at the same time, I didn't know you. I didn't know where your relationship was, and my whole relationship with him had been built upon
infidelity.
Him having multiple relationships with people at the same time. So he was always playing me with someone else. And that's just all I knew from that pattern. And I also had this feeling about you that this wasn't just like a one night hanging out thing.
This was one
and I wouldn't
not a one night friendship stand.
And I wouldn't want our future relationship to be built upon lies. And for some reason, something inside me was just like, I'm saying this. And I don't know.
Were you scared?
Or
nervous?
No. And I think that's a testament to like how easy it is to communicate with you, and how well you hold space for difficult conversations. And it just felt like I was sharing something that needed to be shared, but it wasn't scary. And that's why I'm so confused, because if I had to do that now, I would be terrified about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. You're like, our future friendship is too important. I'm so glad you did, because at that point in time, I was like, who knows what happened. At that point in time, it had been over a year since I had broken up with him. But when you said it, I was like, wow, that's so courageous of her. And I respect her so much more for telling me like night one. And B, it was so validating to like my spidey senses last year. Like I knew it.
Yeah.
That one night that he had that reunion, and I didn't press it or say anything. And it's just a good reminder of like trusting our own intuition. And what's so amazing is like that it started our friendship off from a place of trust, which I do think is so important. And it's like the best time to come clean is at the start of something.
Exactly.
And I feel like that was like a process of starting to heal the sisterhood wounds of like, he was the one in the wrong. And also like, we're going to prioritize our relationship and our friendship over like, what would be like competing over a guy, even though both of us.
We were breaking the pattern.
We were breaking the pattern.
Moment, and I don't think we knew we were doing it.
We were breaking the cycle.
We were breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
And I think there was like some input from the universe.
Yeah. It was powerful. And
it was.
What's so funny is you posted like a photo of us on your story.
This is my friend. I'm cool now.
This is my friend. We're friends. We're soul sisters.
Yeah.
And but it must have been funny because like the next day I hadn't heard from him in a year and a half.
Oh my God.
And the next day he reached out and
Crawling
he was like,
out the woodwork.
Yeah. And he must have felt like panicked or something that we were meeting.
His spidey senses
were firing too. And
now he knows how it feels.
And, we're not spiteful at all.
So over it.
We're hashtag healed. Yeah. He reached out and he's like, hey, would love to just go to the pub and catch up if you're around, as if like we were just like old pals catching up. And I wrote, hey, I know you cheated on me while we were together. I wish you all the best, but I also prefer never to hear from you again. And just like, boom.
Boom.
And that was that. And that was the
So
last.
concise.
Yeah. And it felt so good. I'm like, wow. I had already given myself closure before this, but this truly felt like closure. I just got like a surge of energy when I sent that email of just like, I'm actually done. Cause like for a year, I'd been living my life and doing cool things, but kind of secretly hoping that he would like see it and wake up to what he lost.
Exactly.
And that never happens. But I finally had given myself the closure and became friends with you. And then like that email was like, wow.
And then entering into our friendship is almost like coming to a deal with ourselves that there is no going back.
Yeah.
You know, like it's definitely over. Like the relationship's definitely over. But once you enter a new relationship, like, you know, there's no going back to your ex.
Yeah. It would have been not, it wouldn't have worked if either of us are like, I
absolutely
think I want
not.
to see him again.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because we were a mirror to each other.
Totally.
Because it would have been like, this is a bad decision. And when you're just doing it to yourself, you kind of make excuses and you kind of justify it.
Yeah.
But when you have a friend watching, I feel like we act a lot better.
We do. And it's funny you say that because a few weeks into our friendship, you actually got to hold the mirror for me for this one guy that this Irish singer. I went from a British singer to an Irish singer.
Just touring the United Kingdom.
Touring the United Kingdom.
Sampling the men.
Yeah. And I wrote my song Cruise Control about this road trip with this Irish singer who was like a fun fling, but wasn't also like, you know, the best. We were all in our 20s then, you know, young and impressionable. But I was like, should I just go see him one last time in Brixton, even though he was being like wishy-washy and inconsistent? And you're just like, if you want to, but this really should be the end, you know? And you kind of already like that. I feel like that fling was like starting to hold the mirror for like these different guys and like a whole, like believing in each other so much and thinking the world of each other to be like,
you deserve better.
You deserve better.
But
than
also
this.
like seeing that, looking at a friend and being like, you deserve better, but you have to make your own mistakes so that you can see that too.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the hardest things about friendship is like giving your friends advice, but supporting them when they make the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
And not
still being their number one fangirl.
Exactly.
And be like, you're amazing.
Backing them.
And we're going to get through this.
We will. I'll be here to pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
And so will you. And we've picked up the pieces for each other so many times. And you have done for me recently a lot in the last year.
Oh my gosh, I'm honored. Well, and likewise. And I feel like part of that really has come from like kind of continuing on the theme of like celebration is like we both really like helped each other so much. Like the 2 years that I was living in England continuing to carry on the theme of celebration. Like you helped me like record my own vocals and like I saw you planned your own European tour and I'm like, what if it's so inspired by that? Like what if we did you did it
the
UK tour.
Yeah.
You did a UK tour, which your dad came along for, which I love.
When I say UK tour, I was like playing little open mic nights in random towns in England. And my dad, bless my dad, he drove me to the complete middle of nowhere in Wales and then Oxford and then Manchester. And my dad's like an acts of service. Love language.
It was so sweet though.
Yeah, and you came for a couple
Oxford.
of
I came for
shows.
Oxford and Camden.
Yeah, and I mean it was really fun, and it technically was a UK tour, but it was really like stitched together. It was like a patchwork UK tour.
No, but I found that so inspiring, and I really related to that because I feel like you and I are both go-getters in that way. Like we don't just wait for opportunities or apply for opportunities and hope they come. We like create it ourselves, and so I was so inspired by that we both then decided to commit to a 3-week European tour where we created a Baker DeWarren management email.
We did.
So we had a fake manager. So we'd be emailing like our talent, Sarah and Meredith, are going to be on a European tour. Would you like to book them? I was like, honestly, so impressed, like how we did the logistics where we started in Turin and then we did Trieste and we did Hungary.
And then we like hitchhiked. There was one leg where I was
hitchhiked.
agonizing over the logistics. Like we were trying to, we hitchhiked through BlaBlaCar.
Yeah, blah blah car.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out the logistics. How can we get from, was it Trieste to Budapest?
It was Trieste to Budapest.
Yeah, and we were like, it was really difficult at the time. And I had exhausted all flight options, all train options. And we had these 2 shows that were like 1 day apart. And
You know the life of a touring musician.
yeah.
Just so crazy.
And we just had to make these shows work because the fans
would have been disappointed. They would have been like, where are they?
So we knew we had to make it work. And so there's this site called BlaBlaCar. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like it's kind of like a hitchhike site, but a legit one. And you can book, people put their journeys that they're going to be driving, and you can kind of book a seat in their car. And we booked with these students.
Oh, I thought there was a gay couple. Oh,
Did
but
we do
maybe.
2 trips? One was a student. And do you
Okay.
remember his driving?
No.
It was really fast, and
Scary.
it would be like zoom and then brake really fast. And we were just like,
Riding the wave.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, we don't have a choice.
Yeah. I know. We were like really living life in the fast lane.
Literally.
But then we crossed the chain bridge or whatever it's called into Budapest, and we were blasting George Ezra's song Budapest.
Of course.
And it was such a powerful moment. And we're like, is this life? Like, and now we're
What?
getting paid
Yeah.
300 euros to perform at a wine bar in Budapest. And we did a Limestone Cave tour in Budapest, and we did
Are we out of the cave yet?
we did a Taylor Swift rendition of "Are we out of the cave yet? Are we out of the cave yet? Are we out of the cave yet? Are we out of the cave?" Yeah, I mean, it just feels like it was yesterday. We still need to find that video. I was like,
Yeah,
that would have been
it's
so
in the
great
archives.
if we had released it the same day.
Yeah.
1989, Taylor's version dropped.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was so impressed with us that trip that we did that. We
it's
like
incredible.
we
We
sta-
really hustled, and we
hustled.
really made it work. And
we got paid. We were paid.
we
musicians.
got paid. I think like we kind of broke even in the end because we did it so cheaply.
We did it so cheaply. We'd stay on couches of like the hosts of So Far Sounds, which hosts
Yeah.
live music around the world. But then some gigs would be at a random bar, and they would pay us like 200 or 300 euros.
And they would feed us.
where we're like, wow, like they're
Yeah.
really taking care of musicians. And we did like all in Germany. We actually rented a car to get from Poland to
We did.
Lithuania. And we accidentally Google Maps rerouted us through Belarus.
Oh my God.
And
I
then we
was
had to go
actually
back around.
terrified.
Yeah.
We
'cause
like went to a random cafe and we were like, where are we? And they
They're
didn't speak
speaking
English,
Russian.
but they were like, we figured out quite quickly we were in Belarus and they looked scared. And that's when
they're like, you need to go.
yeah, because I was like, oh, this is funny. We're in Belarus. Like not knowing the political situation at
Yeah.
all, just being this completely like
Yeah.
random tourist.
Yeah. And then we had to reroute and go back. That was like a 9-hour car day.
Yeah, that was a lot, but so worth it.
So worth it. And we did like talk shows like Radio Luxembourg. We
The classic Radio Luxembourg. Poland,
did we did Warsaw Radio,
we did.
and we sang a Polish song there.
We did.
Yeah.
That went down really well.
If you guys want to hear it, we still might remember it.
Banya
Banya Utsigana.
Banya Utsigana, hey,
Banya
Banya
Utsigana
Utsigana
Dorana.
There you go. Shout out to
For all
the
of our Polish
fans.
listeners, we love you guys. Thanks for staying loyal in Poland. But yeah, I feel like so like things like that. That was like our first. That was 8 months into being friends, and I feel like that marked our kind of just sense of adventure. Like I was like, no, that was the first, not the first time, but I was like, wow, I can see why I fell in love with you. Or yeah, we've cats out of the bag. We've
Oh
said
shit, the name again.
We've said the name a few times, so we're not gonna fight it. It could be anyone. It could be someone's nickname.
We should do a beep
Okay,
on it or something. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out.
Gotta protect the identity of our victims.
No, we're all empowered here,
We are.
and I'm sure he's learned a lot from it too. It'll be great.
We hope. We can only hope.
Right. And so all of that's to say, it's like, wow, it's like we're both go-getters. We both like create opportunities. We really divvied up the logistics of the tour and the marketing of it. And I was like, what a cool thing to also be like, we were performing on each other's songs. Like sometimes I would play guitar on your song High. Sometimes you would harmonize on my songs, of truly like a collaborative female friendship where regardless of having the same ex-boyfriend, like removing that, but also helping elevate each other's like visions and careers. And like,
And how working together you can achieve so much more.
yeah.
I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but like that European tour, I wouldn't have done that on my own. And like, if we'd have seen each other as competition, we would never have done it together. But we teamed up and we elevated each other and we both got so much out of it. And I honestly think that it was such a solid foundation for where both of our careers have gone now. Even though
Totally.
it looking back, it's like, it was a fun tour where like no huge opportunities came directly from it. But I think
So far, Brighton, we're still waiting for
we
your
tried.
booking.
We tried.
If you're hearing this and you know anyone at So Far Brighton, get in touch.
Please put our names forward. We've been trying for 10 years now. But from what we learned on that tour and from what it showed us about what our kind of attitude towards getting what we want and creating opportunities for ourselves, I think it's like a huge part of the foundation of where our careers are now.
Right. I agree. I agree. And I think that like the tour was like, yeah, the first moment of that. And then we did little like things in Estonia. We did traveling in Norway and in Prague, and like we planned so many little trips together that year. And then doing the marathon, I think the Dublin Marathon was another. I feel like you helped elevate my music, and like doing the tour and like learning so much from you and how you like hustled in music. And then it was cool for us to also have this physical challenge that we were doing together that I was grateful to shepherd you into because I had done some marathons before.
Some.
Done a few back in my day.
Just like 20.
25. What? Now 25. Probably at the time. Like, probably at the time like 10 or 15.
Oh, only 10 or 15.
Yeah, but
like
it was on
nothing.
Halloween and we did that together.
We did.
And we painted our nose and made ourselves little cats.
We were little sexy devil cats. Because remember that, did you have, I had devil horns.
Yeah, we had horns.
We had little horns and then a cat face. And at the end of the race, we were still perfectly intact.
I know, we looked great.
We looked so great.
I know. I was like, that
slay.
Yeah, that finish line was kind to us. And then this sweet little man came with his little notebook and he's like, "Can I interview you for the paper?"
For like my local like your accent.
Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't even Irish, but and so we were like, sure, and we just thought it was like, I don't know, some passion project of his. And so we were just being cheeky and we're like, yeah. He's like, "So why'd you run this marathon?" And we're like, "We ran it as a testament to our friendship." And then we're like, if
we can survive our ex, we can survive a marathon.
Yeah, if we can survive, like girls run marathon because of same ex-boyfriend. If we can survive him, we can survive anything.
Yeah.
It's funny because we have the same ex.
Yeah.
And anyway, so then we just thought nothing of it. And a few weeks later, you get a text from your friend.
Yeah, my friend in England. So bearing in mind this was in Ireland, my friend in a small town in England sends me a picture of this newspaper, which is the Irish Daily Mail. And it's got our picture, literally the whole size of the page. We're like a 2-page spread.
Yeah. And the Irish Daily Mail. And it's like, girls run marathon as testament to friendship. It's funny because we have the same ex. And then it's like the subline, if we can survive him, we can survive anything. And it was pretty funny. But the cool thing about it too is like that was like the like such a capstone moment of like a visceral thing of like overcoming a hardship together. Like both of us obviously had our own pains and heartbreaks and traumas and insecurities from our relationship with that guy. And like on our own that I see now was a product of me not loving myself enough that I stayed with someone like that.
We can't blame him for everything. It's nice to try.
Yeah, we can't blame him for everything. But when I look back, I take radical ownership, as I know you do, of like, it says more about the love I had for myself that I stayed in something like that.
That we had chosen that relationship.
Yeah, versus like what he did. And we were also all very, very young at the time.
We were all super young. Yeah. And I think there has to be an element of grace given to everyone.
As they go through their...
Yeah.
adolescents and react to their own traumas in their own life in certain ways. And so I honestly do have nothing but love for him.
Same.
And I'm so, so grateful.
Actually, and it sounds like maybe we're being a bit sarcastic, but we genuinely do. It's just like such a defining story for like our healing journeys. So it's good to talk about it, to give context to our friendship. And it's funny.
And it is funny. But the best part too is that after after that brought us together, I feel like you've also given me so much grace of seeing me at my worst through other guys that I've dated too. Mm-hmm. Like the Danish guy. So then I left England and I was coming back to LA and I stopped over in Barbados where Sarah's family has a house. This was after the LA Marathon or the Dublin Marathon. And I was in like the sewers emotionally because like I had really liked this Danish guy and it didn't work out. And again, another thing of Meredith taking radical ownership of the love that I was allowing and tolerating and believed I could access. But then you had so much grace with me because I came on your family vacation and I was kind of like being a Debbie Downer.
I mean,
and I look back at it now and I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful to Sarah and your parents saw me that way. And you guys had opened your home to me. And so I was like, how great of our friendship, how solid is our foundation, how solid our foundation was for you to hold me with grace when I wasn't being great to you or your family.
Well, it's not that you weren't being great. It's, you were going through something. And I think in life we have to remember, like, you don't know what people are going through and you can't always fix it. I think you just have to allow them to process whatever they're going through. And then when they're ready to find a solution or they're ready to talk about it, then you've got to be there ready for them. And I think that was a really good learning experience for everyone on that trip because my parents are very solution driven.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just mope around. If there's something wrong, we're going to find a solution and fix it now.
Yeah.
And they will rapid fire solutions at me until we find one. And
I love your parents.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They are. They both are part of a ukulele troupe in England.
They are incredible people. I am so happy to be their daughter. But I think that week was a really great experience for all of us. There was the day on the boat when you needed your space, and I think I spoke to my parents and they were like, "Is Meredith okay?" And I was like, "Let's just like enjoy our boat trip. Meredith's gonna have a moment." I think you were like thinking, you were sat on the deck and you were looking at the ocean.
Yeah, oh my gosh, so
processing.
dramatic.
And we gave you the space. And then at the end of the day, I think me and you like had a heart to heart and we watched the sun go down and we did a little
meditation, release.
And a closing ceremony, which we would now call it. But I think at the time we called it like
letting go.
But
yeah, now we'd call it a closing ceremony.
Yeah. And honestly, like your energy the next day it shifted. I could really sense that you had processed everything. And for me, I want to be able to give friends a space to feel safe to process their feelings because you can't just, and you shouldn't just snap out of like heavy emotions when you're feeling them.
Right. Or feel a pressure of like, oh my gosh, I have to perform or put on a good face for somebody because they're going to, what if they don't think I'm the positive person that everybody thinks that I am or something? And I really appreciated that because I think for me, I am like overall an optimistic and energetic person that it's really hard and vulnerable when I am going through something that I feel like I can't just shake off. It feels like I'm like a monster or like in the past. Now I have more grace and acceptance and self-compassion, but like that I felt like I was like this monster, like taking down this whole energy and I didn't know how to like be in front of you guys when I couldn't shake it off. And by trying to pretend it like made it worse.
Yeah.
And I felt like this guilt around the heaviness I was bringing to your family. But afterward, I was just like, wow, how much like grace and acceptance to like see me at my worst and still hold me with like kindness and care. And I felt so grateful to your family for that. And eventually got over that guy as well.
Yeah, which we're very happy about.
We're so happy.
Yeah. And I think you always knew that you deserved better. But I think it's just a process of like making that process shorter and shorter each time.
Right.
You latch onto someone who we're kind of like intoxicated by the chase, or like there's something unhealed in us that we see in them. And we know that it's not like the soulmate that we're looking for.
Right.
But we're just trying to like fix something in us.
Right.
Or we're trying to get that validation that we didn't have from something else in our life. And, you know, these guys are sent our way. They're little exercises from the universe. And each time we get better and better at completing the challenge.
Right. It's so true. It's like an exercise in self-worth and self-trust. And I think in meeting Spencer, my husband,
Woo, shout out Spencer.
Shout out Spagos.
Send it.
Send it. Oh my God. I love that you would say that. But, you know, I really do think like girlfriends like you, like that, those kind of friendships, it's like any romantic relationship we have should match like the care, the intention, the respect, the integrity that's in our friendships, because you're just as intimate with your romantic partner, and then have the whole other level of physical intimacy that if they're not treating you as well as your friends, then what are you doing here? Because then it's like you're not valuing yourself or seeing yourself in the way that you're also holding yourself with your friendships. And so it was such a good, healthy friendship to have, to like communicate, to inspire each other, to hold each other with grace through hard emotions. That was like a great blueprint for like what my romantic partner should be, and a great inspiration of like what I wanted to call in, which I eventually did romantically. And last year with you and transitioning into singlehood.
Yeah, which was my hardest breakup ever, because there were no deep issues in our relationship. You
were with this guy for like 2 years.
We were together for 2 years. By far my healthiest relationship. He taught me so much about communicating, about having emotional conversations in a completely respectful and calm tone, which I think I've harnessed the power of that, and I have seen like how like important that is in relationships now. Yeah, we grew so much together. We really supported each other's careers. He never judged me, because with my career I have to and I choose to do some unconventional things.
Pushing the envelope in your image, which we love.
Yeah, and I really put myself out there.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Exactly.
Which is her alter ego.
And I feel like he would have supported me through anything. Like, he was my partner. But we were not aligned in the future we wanted. And it was so painful to come away from a relationship like that. But, you know, we're 9 months on now, and it's...
And you're friends.
We're friends. He came for Christmas.
We did it. We figured out how to be friends with our exes.
Honestly, we nailed it.
Yeah. And it's so sweet, because it was so much love, but it was coming from a place of like, there's no hard feelings. I don't need to be right, or you don't need to be right. It's just this thing isn't right.
Yeah.
And it's painful, but we both know it's right. And you both handled it with so much trust. And it is so funny, because the two breakups that you have had have both been in LA, both when you're here with me. And so I feel like it's been like a ceremony for us too, of like moving. And when I broke up with my ex, I think you were here too. So we've both like been there for each other as like breakup doulas.
Yeah.
Of like holding the other, reminding them.
Catching each other when we fall.
Catching each other when we fall, holding a reflection in the mirror. And I feel like so much has happened for you since that breakup too, of just like, even though like you said, there's nothing but love, it's just like really owning your desire, what you want in every area of your future. And I feel like everything started to align as you've like really called that forth and stepped into that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like my whole mindset and my energy switched last year, and the last year has been completely different from the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So much has changed.
Everything has changed.
Everything has changed. It's been a lot. I'm in my Saturn return, guys.
Watch out, Saturn
Yeah.
return. And to kind of close out on the story of our friendship, don't worry, we are going to do a part 2 because I feel like we barely scratched the surface.
Tip of the iceberg.
It's so
baby.
funny though, because I realize like when I have you or Spencer on, at like a deep friend, but I'm like, you're my first deep, like long-term friend that it's been on the pod. Where it's like I feel the need to tell everyone everything chronologically. I'm like, no detail left out.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is like the capstone of what's so cool about the timing of this is that this week we're releasing a song, Alchemy, which we wrote 2 years ago together.
Yeah, which is why we're here.
Which is why we're here. In Alchemy, we wrote kind of like, I believe before I see, I believe in alchemy. And the idea of like trusting our inner wisdom and trusting ourselves so much, even when the outside world doesn't align with it yet, or there's no evidence of it yet. And it's so cool because it was such a special song to write. And I still feel so, I feel so honored and touched when we do our songwriting sessions, because obviously like you've gone on to dedicate your whole life to it, that I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. It's just like the old days that we're still doing session together.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you're doing sessions with such
You're a
big,
day one.
big producers, big artists. And I'm like honored that Sarah and Mara still get our special little moments.
Of course. And
Yeah.
I'm honored as well.
Oh my
and
gosh.
like, you know, I do music because I love it. So I have the freedom to make whatever music I want. And this is such a big part of my story and who I am as a songwriter.
Oh, wow.
And so when we write together, it just feels like, of course, I should be doing this.
It feels like a hold me and it feels so right.
Exactly.
Which is a lyric from Sarah's song High, which is written on her socks. What a synchronicity.
Wow.
I know. It's powerful,
That's
guys.
crazy.
But yeah, to like close a loop on that, it's like Alchemy is so cool because not only did we write it together 2 years ago, but then I was like telling her last year, I really, really feel a good feeling about this song. I would love for it to be produced. And she was like, say no more. And she got it produced by an amazing producer and presented it at our wedding. And there was a moment at our wedding night. Not only did we play it acoustically for the fans of my my captive audience at my wedding in the big teepee on Friday night, but then Saturday night when everyone was dancing, I did an outfit change and pulled Sarah on stage and we played it. And we were like dancing on stage like we were performing it at a concert and we had like 150 people dancing around us.
It was such a good moment.
It was like
so elevated.
It was like a peak moment for our friendship,
Yeah.
like us dancing. And in that moment, obviously I love Spencer and it was our wedding, but in that moment, it felt like our moment, like you and me and our friendship, like a capstone, like friend moment.
I was a little bit like, I'm not trying to like hijack the attention here. This is totally about Meredith and Spencer. But, you know, this is a really special moment to share our song. So sorry.
Sorry, we love it.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing of our friendship is like continuing to elevate. And the last two things I wanted to mention before we close out with our little rapid fire question for you and quick little Medi for the guests, keeping you guys running on a tight ship with lots of powerful stuff, is that I really appreciate too this last year. I feel like as we express things to each other, we're really good at listening as well. Like, you know, like in you making the song Alchemy for me, and then I have like, you've fully shown up for me. Like we're there till the end of my wedding night because you knew that was important to me. And same with my bachelorette. Like when I think of friends who show up, like you were there till the end, like without me needing to say it. Or then I had expressed a vulnerability to you of like, oh, I feel like some friends, I'm opening my whole world to them and then they never invite me to anything. And it feels one-sided. And yeah, and I was just kind of expressing that to you as a processing of it, not to say like, Sarah, you should do the same. But I really appreciated how you like a few days later must have like reflected on it.
Yeah, but I've been reflecting on it for a long time because it's kind of subconsciously been there where I'm like, I'm so aware like how many friends I've made through you and how much you've opened your world to me. And it's been there and I'm not good at bringing people together, but I know that it's something that I want to get better at. And I also think that like I have so many incredible female friends that you would love and who would love you. And yeah, I just really want to, I know it's important to you
Oh,
and it's also important to
oh my
me.
gosh.
And so yeah,
Wow.
it's going to happen. Watch this space.
Watch this space. I know next time we're on the pod, I'm like, my whole world has changed because of Sarah's
Yeah.
vision. But it was sweet because it was just something I had said to you in passing about, not even about
Mhm.
you, but about like how I was feeling with like some of my other friendships. And a few days later, you're like, by the way, like I'm so excited. Like when I'm in LA more,
Yeah.
I can't wait to host things and have you meet some of my new music friends. I think you'd really like each other. And it was just such a sweet moment of feeling so seen and
Mhm.
heard, of like you being like, I hear you and like
Yeah,
I want to show up in this way. And I just feel like that's another reason we have such a healthy partnership.
exactly. Love
Um,
languages. And, we care about how each other feel.
yeah, which is so powerful.
Mhm.
So I'll give you an option. You can answer one or the other, and then we'll close out with a little brief, powerful Median questions to send our listeners on their way to heal their own sisterhood wounds, brotherhood wounds, or to just have fun and write a
Mhm.
new bop with their bestie.
Love.
Um, okay, one of the two questions, Sarah's choice. What is a treasured trigger of yours? As in, what is something that was painful or triggering or upsetting for you, but now you're grateful for? That's not obviously our ex, because we already talked about it this whole episode. Or what is a powerful stuff that you're sitting with, a powerful musing that you're awakening to or realizing at the moment?
Gonna go with option one.
Okay.
Touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think relationships with other women who are successful, powerful, crushing it. And something that I'm really harnessing the power of now is seeing those women as sisters and reaching out and showing them a lot of love and collaborating with them and hanging out with them and putting a lot of effort into female friendships, um, instead of letting it make me feel insecure.
I love that. And isn't it so funny? Like as soon as you reach out or like set someone that you're feeling comparison around, like just celebrating them,
Mhm.
it like instantly diffuses any wall.
Completely.
And also I like to say, or this is something that Gabby Bernstein said, the manifestation thought leader, that to view people like that as driftwood in your
Mhm.
manifestation, like if they're in your orbit and they're doing that thing, it means it's possible for you too. And the fact that they're there is like a wink from the universe that you're on your path to even have those people in your orbit, even if it's like over social media.
Mhm.
And so it's like being in their orbit or like reaching out, celebrating, collaborating. It's like
Yeah,
a way of like, oh yeah, we're all, a rising tide raises all boats.
exactly. We're in the same circle.
Yeah, I love that. That's
It's an honor
beautiful.
to be in that circle.
That's beautiful,
Yeah.
Sarah. I'm obsessed with that. Okay, we'll close out with our little medi. Do you want to lead halfway through? I'll toss it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, a
Sure.
little collaborative med. Little collaborative medi. This is our first collaborative medi.
Oh my gosh.
First, it won't be the
No
last.
pressure.
I'll tell you that much. Okay, so just closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in, and exhaling it out. And as you come into deep, steady breath, just noticing what this episode brought up for you in your own thing in your life that might have happened that at the time felt hard or uncomfortable, but it ended up leading to something beautiful. And maybe if you're going through that hard thing right now, breathing into that, breathing into the possibility that 10 years from now, that version of you might look back so grateful for the direction that it caused you to turn to, the new people that you bonded with along the way. I'm starting to feel that crack, that opening, that sense of possibility that even though you might feel broken or you did feel broken, feeling cracks of gratitude come through as if it broke you open to more expansion, more possibility. And with that, I'll toss it to Sarah as you start to breathe in this possibility.
And then channeling the gratitude for the resilience in our bodies and our hearts and our minds. We're so capable of setbacks and then rising back up from these setbacks. And there's really nothing that our bodies can't get through if we show them love and gratitude and if we listen to our intuitions. So just channeling that gratitude for these powerful, strong, resilient bodies and hearts and minds that we've been given.
Mm. And as you channel that gratitude for these resilient hearts and minds, pouring all that self-love into you, reminding yourself of all the times you've gotten through things before, and that you can get through them again, even stronger. And all of the self-love that as you have this self-love, you tolerate less and less of the things that aren't meant for you. And reinvest that love in yourself, and thus able to give love to even more new friendships, even more things and opportunities in your life that you're meant to spread and share your gifts with. Taking a deep breath in, and open mouth exhale. Opening your eyes, coming back into this space. Wow, I always say Sarah's voice is just like a little angel fairy.
Oh my God, stop.
I'm glad you guys got to experience that. And then to close out, a few questions for our listeners. So one would be, maybe who is someone that you maybe have compared yourself to, or you haven't, maybe something happened to both of you, whether it's an ex or like an opportunity one of you got than the other. And how could you replace that comparison or competition with celebration of that person? What could you celebrate about them and what it's awakened in you?
Love that. The question I want to ask is thinking about your core friends and how you met those people and how they made you feel in that first moment when you met them.
Love that. And then the last question I would say is, who in your life holds the mirror for you and your highest self? How have they pushed you? How can you continue to push them and hold the mirror for them? And who can you text right now and give gratitude for seeing you at your best, even when you felt at your worst? Because when we double down on these relationships, we're saying to the universe, yes, more of this relationship.
Yeah.
So who can you give gratitude right now for? Wow.
I love that one.
Yeah. So powerful. What a great episode.
Wow.
I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did. It was so fun to go down memory lane.
I know. I love telling our story.
All of our little inside jokes that we got to let you guys in on.
Yeah.
This is just the surface. Don't worry. Part 2 in the
many
works.
more.
Yeah. And later this week, I'll link to it in the show notes. You guys can dance to our song Alchemy together. We're going to do a trifecta of healing songs. Alchemy. We have one song, Full Bloom, that we've written yet to produce. And then maybe a shadow side song, Loving Our Shadow. Watch the space.
In fact, if you guys want to suggest concepts for our next song,
yeah, drop them in the comments.
Drop them in the comments.
Yeah.
We might incorporate them into our lyrics.
Who knows? Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for being on the show. Soul sister from the bottom of my heart. Nothing but love for you. So grateful for our foundation, our relationship being the blueprint for what healthy relationships look like. Exactly. Gratitude to our ex-lovers.
We love them all.
We love you all. And we honestly, I know we made little jokes. You can have a yes and. Yeah. No, I'm joking. But we're grateful. Love you. So grateful. Thank you for, you have excellent taste in women.
You absolutely
I do want to say, would say that to our ex. I'm like, thank you for having an amazing taste in the women you date. I'm like, is it just me? Yeah. It's also Sarah.
Yeah, exactly.
When I met you, I was like, I could see it. You're amazing.
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. And we'll see you next week for more powerful stuff. Yay. Pew, 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 pew.